Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports, and a loaded episode of My Mom's Basement. It's not just Daredevil's double feature we have to talk about today. It's also the massive Avengers Doomsday cast announcement that Marvel made today. We're recording this late night on Wednesday because we were going to record this afternoon, recap Daredevil right after, we saw it, try to be quick to it. And then Marvel just starts dropping announcements on our heads, Clem. We said we gotta wait because we've done it before where we record and then Kevin Feige decides to drop news right after we click stop.
I think this kind of goes into my theory from last week. Kevin Feige was snapped. He's back now, and we're getting things. Marvel is taking over the media news landscape with an entire day. They had you handcuffed to your computer watching a slow motion camera going to the backs of names on fucking chairs. So thank God.
We were hostages. All day we were hostages, just like some of the people in Daredevil episode 5. We're just getting out of the bank right now, and you're getting our first response to this. It's crazy. It was a crazy day. Everyone in the office was locked in. It was every 10 minutes I would yell out like, "Oh, the music's coming on." Everyone crowds around a computer, and then some of them, they were like, "Ugh, all right." And then some of them, they were like, "Whoa, oh my God, this is crazy." There's a big range of surprises or just people who it's like, yeah, no shit, they're going to be in the movie. Why even announce that? So we'll get into all of that today.
Yeah, it was an exciting day, and then mixed with 2 Daredevil episodes from the night before. Seatbelt sign is off, baby. We're just cruising. Go about the cabin. Got to go to the bath. Not only that, Bob, seatbelt sign is off, but we're serving snacks now. Now we're serving snacks and some refreshments, right? Put down those tray tables. Don't be scared. And all you little non-believers like, Trent, get the fuck off the plane. Get off my plane.
Yeah, hell yeah. Bring it back to Harrison. Quick basement keeping before we get into everything. A reminder, I'm doing Marvel Rival streams Tuesdays at 4. I had a full squad of My Mom's Basement listeners this week. It was 6 of us playing. We went on a win streak. It felt so good to be on a win streak with the boys. It was awesome. I'm also doing WWE streams on Wednesdays. Today I was going to do showcase mode. It didn't work. So what I wound up doing was I played a match as myself. I played Liam versus Noel Gallagher in a backstage brawl. I entered a Royal Rumble #1 as Shawn Michaels, and I won it. And in the chat, 2K was giving out free codes for the game. So it was a fun stream. We're really trying to build something with these things. We're going to be doing a lot more WWE 2K content coming up. So check that out. And of course, I'm reminding everyone, May 4th is the first ever My Mom's Basement 24-hour live stream. Can't wait for that. A lot of stuff on the horizon.
May the 4th is sneaking up on you right now. It's damn near spring. Spring is almost sprung.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the cast announcements, let's tell everyone about Game Time. They don't make it easy to buy concert tickets these days. We talk about this all the time. You sign up for the pre-sale, you get in the queue. By the time you get in the queue, the website's not working or the best seats are gone. They've been scalped by bots. Going to a concert should be about the show itself, not waiting in a virtual line. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticking partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. And the Game Time Picks feature makes it even easier to get the best seats in the house. It's very easy. You just click on the GT Picks icon. They'll show you the best seats in the house right away. You don't even have to search. You're going to get the ones you want. There's a ton of great stuff coming up. Me and Clem were just talking about that Offspring tour last week. The Offspring, Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory. There's a ton of good festivals coming up. Hockey's heating up, going into playoffs now. You've got the NBA. You've got baseball back, opening week this week. I'm not even going to acknowledge the shirt that Clem is wearing right now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code MMB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code MMB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. Yeah, sure. It was just as soon as I answered, I was like, what is that shirt? Oh, that's what that shirt says. I kind of know that guy. I've met that guy that tweeted that on your shirt.
Hassan?
Yeah, met him at a WWE show. Very nice guy. We DM'd afterwards.
He's a little man, right?
You don't have to. That's not the first thing you have to say about the guy. I say he's a nice guy. You say he's a little guy.
I've never met him. 2 things. One, I've never met him. I have no beef with Jeff Passan. But
Sounds like never. I don't know.
Well, he had beef with KFC. I don't know.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Yeah. No, I didn't even know that. He's nice to me.
He went at him and Kevin got into a little kerfluffle about some news thing. It was like silly baseball nerd stuff. And he brought up the one thing about Kevin that like the real trolls bring up
I didn't know
instantly.
that.
And
I didn't know that.
And then Kevin said something about him being like a little man. And I said, I never knew that. I figure a lot of these news
he's a little man.
reporters,
Yeah, he's a little man.
Rappaport is, I think Shefty is. It's just one of those interesting things that I'd never known.
Yeah.
I'm a big man personally. There's humans come in all different sizes. And I was just asking if it's true that he's a little man because I've never seen him.
Confirmed.
That was the whole thing. Big Ken used to have a whole thing about Adam Schefter and how tall he was. Like that was a running blog he would always have. I know. So Passan has somehow like wisely never gotten like in the studio, like next to an anchor or something like that. So just asking, I have no beef with Passan. Actually, I kind of like Passan. So, but I have to ride for my boy Kevin. This shirt is simply on because we've recorded We Gotta Believe this morning at 10 a.m. There was no, hey, these are the Mets.
I know. I saw you wearing a top hat. It really made me laugh. I scrolled past you wearing a top hat. I was like, why is Clem in a top? Oh, it's opening day. I was like, that all makes sense.
There was when Steve Cohen initially bought the Mets, which then fell through because it's the Mets, nothing can be easy. There was reports leaked out that his original plans were he was going to have an opening day gala every year. Like the Great Gatsby. So we always say we do our opening day gala now that he's our owner, and you got to throw a suit, tie, at least a suit jacket on. I found a top hat my wife brought home from work, and then threw the shirt on as the little underneath thing. So long story short, we didn't acknowledge the shirt. Now the shirt has taken up 5 minutes about, and hey, listen, Jeff Passan, and to all the short kings out there, we got nothing but love for you. There, again, humans coming all sides.
Oh, of course. Of course. Also, to mend fences here, have I talked about this on the podcast? Have I shown this on the podcast? I just got something in the mail a few weeks ago, at this point, probably a couple months ago, and it's from Clem. And I'm like, what could this be? It's an envelope from Clem. He didn't tell me he was sending me anything. It was just a surprise in the mail. It was a 3D printed little fidget. It's like a little spinner guy, has an Avengers logo on one end. It's like a cap thing. I love this thing. I have this thing in my hands all the time. I'm always using it as a little fidget spinner. This thing was a great olive branch for the Cat versus Tony war.
I felt like that was a good way to mend any fences from throughout the years. That was right after you had gotten the car back too. So like if he has an extra set of keys that he wants to throw the keychain on, it has a little hole for the keychain there. And it was honestly one of those things I was just scrolling through. It was the 3D printer was pretty new. And I was always just like, oh, let me just try this. Let me try that. And then I saw Captain America. I'm like, well, I know someone who would absolutely love something like this. It's pretty sweet, right?
It is. I don't even understand how it works printed, but I'm not even going to try to make my brain understand.
This is what my wife made me. She printed me out Thanos as Buddha, which has to break some sort of like blasphemous.
It's like sacrilegious.
Thing. Yeah. Yes. This probably gets some people upset, but I mean, perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Is that a thing?
Like
sacrilegious? I know sacrilegious is a thing.
Sacrilegious.
Did I make that a thing
too? Yeah, no, that's
okay.
I think that's correct. Okay. And blasphemy, I think, is sacrilegious.
Blasphemy is that's a good one. Yeah. All right. Let's get into these Doomsday casting announcements. There's a ton of them, 27 in total. Let's start at the beginning. We didn't really know this was coming. There was some whispers throughout the week from scoopers saying there's a Marvel announcement that's going to come out that is possibly going to rival Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. We're like, well, that seems like you're overpromising already. That's like, I don't know if anything could be bigger than Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. Marvel doesn't say anything until 11 a.m. this morning. They go live with just an image. It looks like a chair gets placed, but then it's kind of just a still image. And the chair says Chris Hemsworth. So our brains are working. Is this Doomsday? Thor 5 announcement? What is happening here? Quickly, we put together, we're getting the Doomsday casting announcement. And quickly, we put together that we're getting one name every 10, 12 minutes, and we're going to be here for a long time.
Slowly, quickly, but slowly.
Yes. Right? Quickly, meaning like 30 minutes in, when it's Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, you're like, what would they be in together? Oh, the fucking next Avengers movie that just started production today. Interesting the way they went about it. Obviously, they kept it strung along for, I think, 6 hours. I think it was 11 a.m. to like 5 p.m. But as Jeff D. Lowe has been pointing out on Twitter, the engagement, the impressions, they had every single discussing film culture crave, every Twitter account, every Instagram account, every 10 minutes, they were giving Marvel another boost and another post. And the concurrent viewers just kept rising throughout the stream. I'm almost afraid that this is going to become the new norm because I think it went exactly to Marvel's plan today.
Kevin Feige, he got back from this snap and is making everything right again. So just gonna come clean here. Saw the video, saw how slow it was going, saw that there already been like a few chairs because I think I was recording something when it started, and then was like, "Yep, I'm just gonna get my updates through Twitter." I wasn't gonna be part of the nonsense. I don't have the patience.
Understandable.
For it anymore. You know what I mean? But it is one of those things that it's like, this is gonna be a day. It's gonna be one of those days where it's fun.
They took over the whole day, all the headlines. Yeah, it was. We were texting about it as it was going on. I said, "This is Marvel's Royal Rumble." It was literally, we were getting some names that were Bushwhacker Luke and some names that were, you know, who my Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who you're like, oh yeah, they're in the Royal Rumble every year. I could see that. And then you get some names where it's like, holy shit, that was the shock. That was the debut from WCW all of a sudden. There was a large variety. So the first one we get, Chris Hemsworth, one where you're like, yeah, it's an Avengers movie. Thor's probably going to be in it. I would be surprised if Thor wasn't in this Avengers movie, especially with the cast that we have now.
It is nice to know that he was in it, though, because he is a guy, Thor, you never really know where that character is going to go.
Yeah, he was gone for Civil War, and not in Avengers, but he's gone away.
And he makes things tough because he is so fucking powerful when he has all his, shit together.
Yes. Second one, you get Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm. Then my mind starts working a little bit, and I'm going, are they spoiling some Fantastic Four shit here? If they're just announcing her first, if they're not going to announce the other ones, does it mean they get separated at the end of the Fantastic Four and only she's going to... I was thinking about it too much already. Sue Storm is the second one, which pretty big spot for Sue Storm, the 2 spot.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of like you said, it's like...
Not that this is in most importance, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, let's get one of the Fantastic Four in just to remind everyone, hey, this movie's coming out. Let's throw the woman in there. Let's give is International Women's Month. Is that?
It is, still
correct?
is.
Is that the right phrasing for all that? And hey, that was a good way to get it going. I like how you said it though. Like, it is like the Royal Rumble where it's she's 1/4 of her like faction or her team.
Yes,
and like, I wonder where they're going to announce the thing. And we're going to read.
I mean, Devon Dudley comes out to the ring. You're like, I'm pretty sure Bubba's back there. And Spike might be back there too, Anthony Mackie next. No brainer. They announced in Brave New World he's in the next Avengers. He's putting together the next Avengers team. No duh.
Cap. He's Cap, right? He better be in there.
Bucky Barnes, another one where you're like, no duh. Now, this was them dipping their toes in the Thunderbolts water, which we didn't love. I think I was with a lot of people on the internet on that one in terms of you listed pretty much the whole Thunderbolts cast when a lot of the intrigue going into that movie was, hey, maybe they're going to raise the stakes and kill off a couple of these characters, Suicide Squad style. I think it's just going to be the one member of the cast they didn't list at this point.
So I'm sure there are some, what did you call them? Scoopers? By the way, do you think the scoopers, who are like the insiders of the comic world, are they little men like Jeff Passan? Because I feel like the stereotype would be like a guy like me, like a guy like me. I'm shaped more like comic book guy, right?
Yeah,
than I am
totally.
A little. But you see some of these guys. Sometimes they're built like you. Sometimes they're built like me. Sometimes they're little sprites like Jeff Passan. So I don't know which way it was going, but I think some of those people. Today was their Doomsday. Today was Avengers spoiler day is what I called it.
And a lot of those people were right about certain things. Like they knew Marvel was announcing something. I don't think any of this was bigger than Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, but they were also wrong about some things. A lot of people said it was going to be 50 names. There were a couple of people that were like, it's going on for 12 hours because it's going to be 50 names. There's 27 in total, 26 not counting Robert Downey Jr. So they were shaky with it.
Today was a fun day if you're on Twitter, and then the memes that were coming out and the fake news and all that kind of stuff. It's also a day that's very dangerous if you're on like a message board or a Reddit or something where one person is just trying to stir the pot. They throw out the 50 name thing just to fuck with people. Catches like wildfire. You know how it is when you're in school or out in public and a rumor starts and everything just catches on, and the internet is great for that kind of stuff. So like you said, how this affects Fantastic Four, how this affects Thunderbolts, how this affects the X-Men, all that kind of stuff. It was spoilers. It's also like they're not going to keep this stuff secret. I think we went through this with Infinity War, right? It's like, listen, these guys are going to be in it, and
they might be filming in public. It might be not in public, but they might be filming somewhere where a friggin' zoom-in lens can see part of the cast in a desert somewhere or whatever.
And everyone's saying this is not the complete cast. So even with that,
Yeah.
there are people missing that we're not going to talk about.
Marvel's already teasing more.
Speculate. Oh,
like,
are they?
Marvel posted like as a comment on Robert Downey Jr.'s post, like, this can't be everyone, can it? And then Robert Downey Jr. was like, more, you say? Like, they're going to do another one of these videos tomorrow, maybe. It might be the same thing, fucking, we're going to have to re-record My Mom's Basement.
I got a take for you, Bob. Ready for this take?
What's that?
Marvel should have done this, what was it, 7 hours?
Yeah.
This 7-hour chair video should have been the post-credit scene of Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh my God.
Can
That
you
would have been
imagine that?
so fucking funny. We're just like looking at our phone. We're like, are we just going to be here for how long is this going to go on? We're like, but it's the fucking Timothy Chalamet when they start dropping X-Men. We're like, maybe we'll stick around, eh?
and it's like, why does every theater only have one showing of Captain America every day?
This is such
literally
a good take.
It's like a 10-hour movie.
Yeah, it's 10 hours if you want to stick it through. Yeah,
but you know what?
That should have been it.
Everyone would have left that theater and would have been like, you gotta watch Captain America.
Yeah.
Listen, the movie, it's what was the phrasing for it again?
Aggressively mid.
Aggressively mid. Post-credit scene, unbelievable. Your mind is blown by the end of it. And then 8 hours later, and all of our dumbasses would have been sitting there the whole time because they have us hook, line, and sinker.
They proved that today with the fucking chair video. That was such a flex the whole day. The fifth on the list was Letitia Wright, plays Shuri. If you're going to make an Avengers movie at this point, you need a Black Panther. She's the active Black Panther. Another one that makes sense. I didn't think anything more of that.
I'm allowed to
do that,
right?
Yeah. Wakanda Forever, yeah. Paul Rudd, they did a good bit with him with the tiny chair. I appreciate a little tiny thing like that, pun intended. And another one where you're like, Paul Rudd's an Avenger, of course. Like, if you're putting together the Avengers, kind of goes without saying he's going to be in this one. So another one, I don't have a big take about him being in this movie.
No, I'm pretty much fine with everybody in it. There are some people that we're not going to say who the Bushwhacker Lukes are and all that kind of stuff. We'll be nice here on the pod. We're nice to everybody.
Be nice here.
But
we'll be nice here.
I think there were some times where like people are like, all right, I'm turning this off because we're going to get the Bushwhacker Lukes, or I'm not going to wait any longer and get another Bushwhacker Luke.
Yeah.
So some of these people, it's like, of course. But this is the thing about the Avengers. You never truly know. Right? It's like
some people step up and it's like, oh shit, I loved, so-and-so in that movie. I loved Gamora in Infinity War. There's people where you're like, oh my God, they had a standout performance in that movie.
And Ant-Man wasn't even in Infinity War, right? So it's like, it's not like every Avenger has to be in every Avengers movie or, one of those monsters characters.
And we know Secret Wars, they're saying it's going to be like triple the size of this one. It's like, I don't even know how that's possible. You're going to make up new superheroes for that.
My brain hurts just trying to figure all this stuff out. It really does.
So I'll go out of order a little bit just to kind of smoothen things out, make things quicker. Thunderbolts wise, they also announced Wyatt Russell, John Walker, the U.S. agent. They announced Florence Pugh, Yelena, Lewis Pullman, Sentry, who's like, I believe, going to start on the team, become the main villain of the movie. And then again, kind of spoilery, guys, just announcing that he's in the movie. Whatever. It is what it is. Red Guardian, David Harbour, Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. That was one. Respectfully, Hannah John Kamen on the back of a chair. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I had to look that up. Yep, but I do. Ghost was good in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like your character or whatever. Character design was cool. It's everyone except Taskmaster. It's every friggin' Thunderbolt except Taskmaster. So what do you think about that? This is a spoiler, Marvel.
I feel like the odds of Taskmaster is not like, I wouldn't be betting Taskmaster is going to survive that movie.
Plus 10,000.
This is the other thing, though. Like, I would hope the people in charge think like us and are like, it would be funny if we left someone off that we're going to obviously have on, and it would be someone like Taskmaster Regas. I mean, the one thing we said about Taskmaster was they completely fucked up the character the first time. They got to do it right the second time. It would be a shame if they got it right and then killed Taskmaster off.
Yeah, which I think they're gonna do. Two names on the list that I wasn't like shocked to see, but I was like, oh wow, like didn't expect them in like the main cast announcement was Namor and M'Baku, Winston Duke, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher Namor's name if I even try.
Just say Namor. Don't get us in trouble, Bob.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get us in trouble. Namor, Namor from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. He's the first mutant. Big history.
Namor? Does he prefer Namor? If he prefers Namor, I'm gonna call him Namor. I don't know. I don't want to.
I've always said Namor.
I thought like he calls himself Namor, but then like people from the land said
Maybe.
Namor. I could be wrong. I might be
I'm
remembering
all
that
right
wrong.
being a Yankee from the land.
I'd say Mario instead of Mario. Like that's just
I say that
that's how we
sometimes
talk
too, I
up
think,
here,
yeah.
right? But he was a guy that was like, man, that was a fun character, but this was one of those. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Post Endgame, there's a cloud, and there was a few good movies, and then there was a few meh movies. But there were a couple cool characters at the very least that had their moments. He was
Yeah,
one of
he was
them,
cool.
and you're like, man, I hope they could build on this character because I don't want to say they fucked it up, but I feel like there could have been more.
Yeah, I really like that movie, like in the moment, but I haven't gone back and rewatched it, and that always is a little bit, it's not a demerit, but it kind of speaks to like, I don't know. I liked it. It's well made, but it's just not one you want to go. And maybe part of that is it's a fucking heavy movie. You're talking about like death the entire movie.
Yeah,
sad.
It's deep. The Rihanna song is good, I guess, if you want to rewatch.
Oh yeah, it's a good and I love the ending of that movie. Like there's a ton of scenes in that movie where she fucking rips the wings off Namor's fucking heels. That scene is badass.
Yeah,
and she talks to Michael B. Jordan in the Celestial Realm. There's some fucking cool scenes in that movie. Even when she goes underwater for the first time. I remember that being like a whoa, like you see in Namor's world and his kingdom. That shit was fucking cool.
I mean, we could do a segment after this of like, who do you want to see in it? I want fucking Warmonger back. Let's figure out a way to get him back in a multiverse. Yeah. Let's bring back Michael B. Jordan. We didn't have to kill him off the first time. He was the rightful fucking Black Panther.
Well, let's not get crazy.
He was. All right. Listen, I love Chadwick. I love fucking T'Challa. But fucking Warmonger won it fair and square.
He did look so cool when he's walking up. He's got the fucking like scaly scars over his body. It's not scales, but it looks like scales. It's fucking sick. Obviously the whole Fantastic Four cast is in there. I thought it was cool that they saved Pedro Pascal for last before Robert Downey Jr. Kind of just, I felt like to hammer home, like all these Marvel people are like, oh my God, you're bringing in more Robert Downey Jr. You're going to remove Reed Richards versus Dr. Doom. It's going to be all about Spider-Man versus Dr. Doom. People got their panties in a bunch. I felt like that was them being like, chill the fuck out. Reed Richards is going to fight Dr. Doom in this movie.
Nerds were upset about something and the way they perceived it, even without seeing anything. No, not us. And I'll lump us into it. I don't have to. I'm not better than anybody. Think you're better than me?
How about Danny Ramirez, Joaquin Torres getting a chair? Did he sneak on? All due respect, did he sneak on and put his own chair there?
That would be amazing. It's like a foldable, like metal chair. It just
fucking ran on real quick. Fucking moved. Who was in front of him? It was Joseph Quinn. It was Johnny Storm. Moved his chair a little bit to the left and was like, "I'm getting in this shot." I saw Ben Schwartz tweeted. He's like, "Don't let them stop the live stream. I'm on my way to the studio with my chair right now." That made me laugh. And then you get the big ones, the heavy hitters in the end, which kicked off with Tom Hiddleston. That one, I was like, all right, now we're cooking, because we didn't know for sure if Loki would be in this. The last time we saw Loki, he's holding the fucking timeline together. So you would think maybe he could make a cameo of some sort, or maybe he's just, that was his send-off. Maybe he's the fucking god of stories and he's holding that together. So as soon as I saw Hiddleston, I said, all right, we're cooking. Business is picking up a little bit. I liked that.
I think the way we left Loki, I think even the way Loki was with us when he died in Infinity War, it's like, it's Hiddleston's time. Hiddleston, don't forget, Bob, we made this a while ago. This was before Travis Kelce. We said Hiddleston's getting back together with Taylor Swift. We need him to hit big in this movie to have a chance, because I feel like they're moving towards marriage at some point, and only a great.
Although I just saw she's in talks for Marvel, apparently, according to one of these fucking scoopers. And I looked up the scoopers their name is like My Time to Shine. They're at 65% accuracy on their Marvel scoops.
I like that we have an accuracy counter for the scoopers. Yeah. I like that.
They keep track of that shit. Yeah, on the Marvel spoilers Reddit, they have like a track of everybody. Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier, and you can't bring him back in this Avengers movie without bringing back Ian McKellen as Magneto. This one's badass, and everyone in the office was like, "You better start shooting that movie right now because those guys are old."
Yes, that is actually a good point. We might have to replace one of those chairs. We might have to replace them with the
all due respect,
the first class versions of them if things go awry.
they missed out a little bit not making the chairs more fun like they did for the Paul Rudd one when they made it tiny. How do you not wheel in a wheel like a yellow fucking floaty wheelchair for Patrick Stewart?
Maybe this is the
He's
world
a
where
character in a chair.
Patrick Stewart's Magneto in this world that we're going to meet him in, and Ian McKellen is
Oh
Xavier.
my God.
Oh, let's get crazy.
Speaking of sacrilegious, speaking of blasphemy, shout out Jerry O'Connell. Rebecca Romaine back as Mystique. Not one that I expected to see. For sure not one I expected to see. So that one I thought was cool. And then when you get the three of them, you think, oh, they're probably going to go down the line. And they kind of do go down the line. Earlier, you had Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy, Beast, which we got him in the Marvel. So you have to pay that off, obviously. But they got Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler, one of our favorites, which another one I maybe thought we could see in Deadpool and Wolverine. Was not even thinking about them being on the menu for this one. You get James Marsden as Cyclops, and the final X-Men on that list. Not one from the original X-Men movies, but ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself. Channing Tatum as Gambit. That was maybe the biggest one in terms of, from what I saw from the internet, like happiness, surprise, shock, people being elated over that. And I am too. Like, the prospect of seeing him interact with not just that ragtag squad and Deadpool and Wolverine, but like the actual X-Men that we grew up with, that's sick.
Yeah, it's I think a few things. I think people like the actor, so we're happy for the actor, and I think people love the character, and people want to see the character around, and not just like, I don't want to say he was like a joke, but he was jokey. Let's call it what it was, right?
Yeah, it was like 50-50, maybe 60-40 jokey. Yes. Like he was a joke until they gave him action scenes, and then he could kick some ass, and he was kind of serious in those scenes. But like, yeah, all of his dialogue is pretty much minion speak.
And his meme ability, like he could have a meme line in this that will do numbers for them forever with this movie.
Yeah. And then the final one was Robert Downey Jr. taking his chair, taking his throne, if you will, as Dr. Doom. A lot of people were expecting maybe like a Chris Evans, maybe even Ryan Gosling. He was being talked about as like if they wanted to throw in an actor we don't know and we won't know their role. I thought it would have been cool to throw in one name without us knowing who the hell they're going to play. That could have been a little cool. But also, they announced 27 names. I'm sure they have a lot left in the tank based on who they didn't announce and whatnot. I'm kind of happy with the cutoff of like, all right, yeah, leave some stuff a surprise for us. But there's big names missing from the list, obviously. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Hulk. And it goes on and on and on. I don't know if they're not going to be in this movie, and that's going to be expanded upon in Secret Wars where they were, and now they'll be the team that saves this team or something. Or if we're just have the rug pulled over our head right now, we don't know about that. Spider-Man 4 comes out between the movies as well. So keep that in mind. I could see Spider-Man, like Tom's Spider-Man, being a post-credit scene in Doomsday, leading into Spider-Man 4, which leads into Secret Wars or something like that. I also kind of expected maybe like a Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Tobey Maguire today, because I thought if you paired Tobey and Hugh Jackman in the same movie, you could have made the argument maybe that's bigger than Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom.
Do you think we get some sort of wacky Ryan Reynolds Deadpool puts his own chair in at some point video?
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. I like the idea of that.
And then he like puts down Hughes and it's like, till you're 90.
Or just like he tips over Hughes, kicks it over or something. And Hugh has to put it back up. It's like, you're an asshole. Some shit like that. That'd be good. I like the idea of that. You should be writing for Marvel. Kevin Feige's got to get you in there.
Just give me a whiteboard, Kevin. I'll take care of the rest for you. So without Deadpool and Wolverine, I think this does hit even harder, obviously. But even though we had the Beasties in the Marvels, obviously the Gambit, even you would have probably not have included Channing Tatum as Gambit, but everyone else. So I understand people that were like, I would have not liked to know the X-Men. I feel like the X-Men being there, people could feel like that gave away more than even the Thunderbolts. We like the Thunderbolts. We're excited for the Thunderbolts. It's not the X-Men, right? But
maybe the X-Men are just like, if they're main characters and it's like we're making toys, posters, everything. If it's not like, saved for halfway through the movie, maybe I get it in that sense. And it could be like an Avengers versus X-Men type movie where they wind up teaming up against Doom and shit. Like, that could be amazing.
That's what I'm thinking, because there is the Avengers versus X-Men story, right?
Yes.
We've heard about. Jose has told us about it. I've never read it. I saw it in the library the other day. AJ is getting into comic books,
Really?
like little kid comic books. He just is obsessed. It's awesome. Cat Ninja. If you have a kid that's like 6, 7 years old and you want to get him reading, Cat Ninja apparently just gets these kids hooked. So I was in the library and I passed an adult comic section. I'm like, oh, let me look at this. Looking for like Secret Wars, maybe some stuff we do in the future. And I saw the Avengers versus X-Men. I'm like, this could be cool. And if that's kind of what we're getting here, I mean, I have no clue what happens. This might be a Jose, assignment with Professor Young's coming.
Yeah.
This is something I actually watched a YouTube video about the other day, and I forgot to tell you about it. Screen Crush, who I'm a big fan of. Heavy spoilers, my guy.
Too, yeah.
Screen Crush #2, Ryan Airy. He had a theory that there's 2 movies that are untitled on the schedule for Marvel, and he thinks one might be a secret X-Men movie. And you know me in secret movies, Bob. And you're throwing my beloved X-Men as the secret movie. So then we're not just getting the X-Men just thrown onto the screen, kind of like in Deadpool. We already have them established in this movie, and then they're going to fucking Battle World or Doomsday, whatever you want to call this shit. That is how you know what this is doing? This is the Batman smacking Robin, except it's Kevin Feige smacking that idiot Trent for talking out against Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, we got to make that. Yeah. I love that. Or I could also see this X-Men getting their send-off here in terms of we did a nice send-off for a lot of 20th Century Fox characters in Deadpool and Wolverine. I could see Doom brutally murdering the original X-Men cast just to show his power. And then maybe that secret X-Men movie is the rebooted new cast of X-Men, and that's the way you introduce them or something like that.
I wouldn't hate that either. And even Deadpool does, like, you're not going to get a Green Day song montage.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yes, they come back and he's like, "What was that fucking montage for? If they're back." And I noticed there's no Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, I think that's probably because the Guardians got their Avengers team up movie with Infinity War and to a lesser degree Endgame, and this already has the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men teaming up with, or at least being in the same movie as the Avengers. So they probably saved the Guardians for Secret Wars, but I can't imagine Rocket Raccoon and Adam Warlock and Groot and some of those characters not appearing in Secret Wars. Drax will probably not, because Dave Bautista seems like he's out without James Gunn.
I think he's very.
But Star-Lord too. Like, obviously Star-Lord's back in Secret Wars.
So that's the thing. It's like when you're dealing with the actors, obviously you can get the 2, Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel to do the voices, and the computers can handle the rest. Getting what's his name there? Chris Pratt. I think he, I don't want to say owes it to Marvel, but I think he could give us a little bit. I also won't be devastated if Star-Lord's not in this one. You figure everyone's going to be in the next one. So if we don't need every single person in this one. So
agreed.
If they don't think he fits the story, that's fine. Let's not force it. Let him live in Missouri and do whatever the fuck they do in Missouri.
Yeah, hang out with his grandpa eating cereal and shit.
And White Vision.
Yeah, that. Who knows about that? I thought they were gonna hit us with a fucking Paul Bettany. 2 chairs.
I'll never forgive Paul Bettany for that fucking tease he did. I'll never, to the day I die.
All right, let's tell the people about another great sponsor here at My Mom's Basement. That is DraftKings. The great rewards hunt is on. So join the adventure with DraftKings Casino. Ooh, they make it sound real fun. They make it sound like you're going to friggin', I never remember no ad-atting. For fun seekers, follow the trail to huge jackpots, weekly bonuses, and exclusive games. Plus, new players can get their losses back up to $1,000 in casino credits on their first day. Just sign up with the code BASEMENT and start playing to get up to $1,000 in casino credits back with a minimum $5 net loss. Only on DraftKings Casino. The crown is yours. I walked into a Rocket Men, not the boys, the men. Walked into a Rocket Men stream a couple months ago. We were going over Marty and Ria's to watch Surviving Barstool. Dana and Marty were playing Rocket Man. They said, get over here. I went up. I won them 3x on the Rocket. We went crazy. It was such a good time. So head on over to DraftKings and use that code BASEMENT. And I made some good money with DraftKings last week. Tournament started. Tommy Smokes, I noticed, was doing very poorly. I started fading him. I started doing very well. I felt a little bit bad about it, but it was Tommy, so I don't feel that bad about it, you know?
Tommy wouldn't feel bad if he did it to you. We could just say that.
How about this? Tommy stormed into my stream yesterday with this look on his face like I murdered his family. And I was like, what is this look? And he's looking at me like this. Comes in like this. I'm like, what are you looking at me like that for? He goes, have you been telling people I have a rash? I was like, what? I was like, where the fuck did that come from? And this is all full circle. I was like, no. He's like, well, someone's live right now saying I have a rash because I'm getting tweets saying, like, I'm wishing you well on your rash. So I'm like, Fishbowl's live right now. Was it the Fishbowl girls? No. It was the Rocket Men. They were also live telling people that Tommy Smokes had a rash. So I brought a full circle there.
Nice.
Yeah, crazy though. Yeah.
Oh, the Rocket game is one of my favorite things just to watch. And those two fucking idiots. Those two happy idiots.
They're honestly great streams. They're very funny just to see them losing their minds, jumping up and down. They'll win $5 and jump up and down and celebrate and hug each other like they won the World Series. Great stuff. Another sponsor we want to tell everyone about is Bird Dogs. We absolutely love Bird Dogs. Their classic quarter zips are perfect for when you're looking for something in between. You know, whether you're golfing or you're going on a first date, Bird Dogs quarter zips are your new go-to. Now, what about the pants as well? Bird Dogs pants are next level. We all know wearing nice pants is the worst, but their stretch khakis actually look like you're dressing up, but have the stretch and flexibility you need. Other athleisure pants look shiny and too casual to wear to the office, but with Bird Dog stretch khakis, you can finally have comfort and style. And you know what? They sent me some of these. I noticed the pockets on the inside, you take them inside out, pockets are like hot pink. Kind of a fun thing where you would never know. You can't see the hot pink pockets. But when you look at them inside out, you're like, oh, shit, that's kind of a crazy thing Bird Dogs is doing. It's a little Easter egg in the Bird Dogs. For a limited time, our listeners will get a free hat with any order when you use code MMB at birddogs.com. Get their best-selling hat completely free when you use code MMB at birddogs.com. Show your support and let them know we sent you. Thank you to Bird Dogs. All right, Clem. Ready to get into Daredevil, the double feature we got, episodes 5 and 6.
Yes. By the way, the one guy that I think you said, but I'm not sure. Did we say Shang-Chi's in it? Did you?
I think I said he's in it. Maybe I forgot him.
I was just happy for him.
I was happy for him. Someone said Aquafina was going to get a chair, and they were like, it's going to hit the timeline like a nuke if they give Aquafina a chair.
God. What was fucking Megan the Stallion?
Oh, if she was Megan the Stallion, she was herself. What if they just gave her a chair? Yeah. I actually kind of expected Tatiana Maslany. She-Hulk herself.
They're like, you know what? If she's
in one of the
other,
other.
Even bother putting her there because it's going to be the angry folks are going to come out, and we don't need to do that. Those are the old. That's when we were still in takeoff, and there's some turbulence and. I mean, shit, there was more than it was like when that plane flipped upside down. That's what it felt like.
In Toronto. Yeah. So Daredevil, we did not get Charlie Cox's name. I figure he's in one of the movies for sure, but he's a surprise. He's one that you keep him locked and loaded, and Daredevil shows up and he gives a big pop to the movie theater. But we were talking before the episodes came out. I was talking to a couple people in the office. I was wondering why they were putting out 2 episodes, 5 and 6 together. And I think it was for 2 reasons. One, I think it now makes Daredevil end before Andor begins. So it's a Disney Plus scheduling thing. But 2, after watching them, episode 5 was kind of a filler episode. So I kind of feel like maybe they doubled up so no complaints came out. But I don't think there would have been complaints. Honestly, I loved episode 5. I thought it was the first real sign of what maybe the first incarnation of the show looked like. In it being a little bit lighter and a little bit more comedic. But it had enough grit to have bone snapping, bunch of F-bombs, maybe the most F-bombs I've ever seen in a fucking Daredevil episode, left and right. It was the perfect balance for me of the dark, vigilante, realistic, grounded Daredevil and the kind of fantastical comic booky MCU. I thought they had a really good blend here. The episode pretty much only takes place in the bank bottle episode, I think they call it, something like that. But I really liked it. What about you?
Yeah, so I think I'm with you. I think the reason that they did it, if it's not just an Andor thing or some behind the scenes stuff, they had to choose 2. They're like, this one is kind of, it doesn't have the connective tissue to the rest of the series. Right?
No.
Like, it's like the Fly episode of Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, everything's self-contained. There's really nothing here. Obviously, there's one superhero that gets beat over our head, at least the
Yeah.
real name of the hero, which I'm sure we'll talk about. So that is long-term, big picture connective tissue. But for the rest of the series, it's like I said it. I was like, after it was over, I was like, okay, I can now understand. I was like, I hope the second one isn't more of the same because then we're just gonna have two. But either way, if you're getting 2 for 1, it's like, again, that's why I love Twix. Even if you're not a fan of the
Hell
Twix, which
yeah.
I am, you always feel you're getting something for free, getting in 2 candy bars. Even if they can make
Yeah.
it 1 bar, it just doesn't fucking, even 100 grand. They're just little baby bars. But 2 of them, you're like, hey, whatever. And it's an elite. Actually, wait. I know you have some different takes on candies.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, give me the takes on Twix and 100 grand.
100 grand once in a blue moon, once every couple years. I'm not like a huge 100 grand guy, but I like it.
Okay.
I'm totally okay with it. Twix is like 1A or 1B with Kit Kat for me. Love Twix, specifically a holiday variation, whether it be the egg, pumpkin, Santa Claus head. I feel like it has a better ratio of Twix in the holiday variation.
Okay, great. Twix is elite. I think 100 grand is like whatever their company, like they just need better PR or something, or I don't know what they need.
It sounds like old people candy. I know it's not, but it sounds like old people candy. 100 grand.
100 grand now. Yeah. Like for a quarter, I can get 100 grand. Yeah.
They could call it like $1 billion for inflation or something. Get with the kids, you know?
The Billion Boys Club or whatever the fuck it's called.
The hero you referenced that kind of gets beat over our head this episode is not necessarily Daredevil. It's Miss Marvel, because we go into the bank and who's working at the bank? It's Matt Murdock trying to get a loan, kind of like Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, another superhero going in for a loan. Although Matt Murdock, not a public superhero, obviously. But Miss Marvel's dad is working in the bank. I like Miss Marvel's dad. He's appeared in a few things. I thought he's pretty funny in the Marvels movie. Now, I think he was canceled at some point, or at least they tried to cancel him. He had some real life stuff that went. I don't even know what it is, but I was kind of surprised to see him because of that. I thought the first scene with him was pretty funny. Obviously, there's a lot of Kamala stuff that follows him talking about his daughter and inviting Matt to dinner. But him having a custom Funko Pop was funny. I loved, as a Jersey City boy, the approval, the praise. It's like a tourism bonus or something. Matt Murdock loves Jersey City. He actually prefers it to Hoboken. I don't know what he prefers about Jersey City to Hoboken, because they're pretty damn similar. I got to tell you, like, I'm a Jersey City guy, so I'll take that with pride. But they're pretty similar, especially, I would imagine, to a blind guy. They're pretty similar. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but yeah, I'll take that as an absolute win, in the words of the Hulk.
What did he say? That was it used to be the gateway to America. Yeah, he prefers it to Hoboken. That was my first note.
Counting Ellis Island as Jersey City is funny.
Yeah, I was so happy. I was like, Bob Fox, like, just a win. Anytime you have, like, I live in a small town, so it's not as much that, but like, if anywhere you lived, I love Astoria. I used to live there. So if you ever heard some Astoria love somewhere, you're like, fuck yeah. Even this in Daredevil, they talked about a jelly that's in Astoria. So you're just like, yes. And then these guys are just straight up glazing Jersey City. So that was a huge win. Huge win. And by the way, Jersey City, on the dozen, you were on that one. It's like
I didn't get it. Yeah.
What was
It's one of the most populated cities in America. It's like top 35.
I had no clue.
And I wouldn't have guessed that. And Marty was on it too. It was me versus Marty. We both live in Jersey City. Neither of us even considered guessing it.
That's crazy. I had no idea Jersey City had that kind of panache.
Or, you know what? Not top 35 in the country, but top 35 in the country that has 2 words.
Two words.
Name. That's what it was, which is still crazy. We were naming Las Vegas. We were naming cities, you know, but crazy. Then these bank robbers come into the bank and they're wearing, I texted you, these ski masks that you get on Amazon. And I know that because I bought me and Clem these ski masks like 4 years ago for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I bought us purple ones. And as soon as they walked in, I was like, holy fuck, that's the exact ski mask that I bought for us. It's like a very thin one. And MT on Heavy Spoilers pointed out, they had 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones colors with their masks. And the only one they didn't have was orange. And the end of the episode features an orange gem, kind of like the Soul Stone that was saved for last in those movies. I think there's a little Infinity Stone connection with that, which was very cool. Like, that's you have to really like pay attention for that. I didn't even pick it up in real time. Shout out MT. But that was really cool when I realized it.
I think that, yeah, I didn't get that at all. I heard in the new Squid Games there's a guy named Thanos, and he has all the different colors.
There
and
is.
Infinity Stones and the
He's
fingernails. Is that it? The
yeah,
fingernails?
He has fingernails painted, yeah.
Yeah. This is my question from that. Do classic bank robberies, do people do them? And do they work?
That's a great question. You never hear on the news like bank robbed by guy in mask and leads to a police chase.
Yeah,
I was
takes
thinking like,
hostages.
we just ignorant to that? Like that would be sensational news, right? Like,
Or do they
I guess
not want to
not.
broadcast it because then you're gonna have more people doing it? Or
Maybe.
am I just miss? I don't watch the news anymore. Ever since I think when it just became like during
Yeah,
COVID, it was like I'm not watching the news anymore. And then we have all the
it's
political bullshit.
it's bad
So,
stuff.
but it's like you do hear of robberies and you hear of crimes, and it's
Yeah,
and then my question is twofold: do they happen? And then do they work? Is that
you know,
like
now that I
is
think
that
about it, they do happen. Because I'm thinking, I remember there's instances of people sliding shit to the cashiers, kind of like it happens in movies
true?
sometimes. Put money in a bag. I don't think they do work. Because there was like an indie wrestler who, like to this day, Nick Gage, he's like a wrestler. He went to jail for a few years for robbing a bank, and it was kind of funny because he used to come out with a bandana over his face when he wrestled. And then he robbed a bank with no mask on. And everyone was like, bro, the one time you didn't wear a mask was when you chose to rob a bank. But he went to jail for a few years and he came out. So, like, I don't think they do work, but I think banks are still getting robbed.
So I just Googled it, and the first one is Quora or whatever, and I feel like they're not a very trustworthy
Oh,
source.
yeah. That site, it was like a ask site. Yeah.
It says they're a lot. One person, David Simpson, they're a lot less successful than they used to be. Gone are the days when a robber could walk into a bank unnoticed, go up with a note and say, "Give me $10,000."
Yeah.
You're on camera for so long beforehand.
They don't
Then
have all the money in the back either anymore.
yes, exactly. They figured out ways to fight back against a crime that was so popular. Like the guy said, I love that line. He was like, "You've seen movies, you know what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
right?"
And I'll tell you what, I do love a bank robbery movie. Like any kind of bank
Yes.
robbery movie, I'm in on. Even like the shitty like Public Enemies with Christian Bale or something. Like we
Um,
got some courtroom drama, we got some bank robbery. They're hitting different genres.
I'm gonna give one, and it's by no means. It's not the size of A Few Good Men, but it's a pretty good size one. And if you watched it, you fucking loved it. Inside Man is just a fucking
Yes.
stellar movie.
Who
Stellar movie.
Ken Jack texted me during the episode. He goes, "This reminds me of Inside Man," and I completely
Wow.
agreed. I haven't seen Inside Man probably since it came out. That was a classic. Like I feel like the couple years after it came out, it was on FX or TNT every other day. But yes, Inside Man for sure. My favorite bank robbery movie, probably Hell or High Water. Have you seen that one?
No, never seen that one.
Oh, unbelievable. It's Chris Pine, and it's like him and his brother are robbing banks, and the guy coming after him is Jeff Bridges, and it's fucking
Ooh.
mwah, chef's kiss. Taylor Sheridan.
I missed a lot of Chris Pine movies. I saw him in the Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, "Holy shit, I love this guy! Who is this guy?" And then I found out it was Chris Pine. So I was like, "I got to watch more Chris Pine movies." So I guess that's now at the top of the list.
Yeah.
New York Post wrote back in 2022 the title of the article: "Why Bank Robbing Has Gone Out of Style," and it says bank robberies are at the lowest it's been in a half a century. Back in 2022, person was doing some research about a book, and says a lot of them they do the pass the note and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, but I guess maybe because of the I don't know if it's like not worth the risk. Maybe they found ways to just kind of spoil it. And let's be honest, Bob, what's the greatest opening scene that involves a bank heist that isn't even let's bring it up. Let's do it.
It's The Dark Knight. It's 48 minutes. We went a long time. We hit the over today, but it's The Dark Knight. There it is. There's your mention. It's your Stan Lee cameo, which also I tweeted during this episode. We didn't get a BB Urich report during this. We got one during the next episode, but I tweeted, I just had the thought in my head. It was like, fuck, Stan Lee would have been the best guy to interview in a BB report.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
for him to comment on the city. Like, I think vigilantes should get out of this city. You know, his New York voice, like his little Stan Lee accent, he would have been so good. I mean, they interview old people on it anyway. The last episode, they had an old guy talking about guns or whatever. Yeah. This episode also uses Matt's hearing so well. The way they show it and represent his heightened hearing. Maybe it gets a little much with the safe, but again, we're balancing the groundedness of the original series with now he's in the MCU and he exists in a world with these fantastical elements and whatnot. I liked when he could hear the bank robbery happening initially. Like he could hear it from a block away and he's like, oh, fuck, I got to go back. And he's on the phone with his girlfriend. He goes, call 911. Click.
Yeah. Click.
No context.
Real nice.
She's
right?
what is she going to say to my boyfriend just said, call 911. Where is he?
Yeah.
I think he was at the bank downtown. I don't know.
dude, how about you call 911? It tracks your phone there instead of your girlfriend be like, oh, my boyfriend just said
Yeah.
to call 911. I have no clue exactly where
It'd
he
be
is.
better to call 911, put your phone back in your pocket. You don't even have to talk to him.
And then you
They'll
kind of
track
just,
it.
they're getting all the names like McClane does in
Mhm.
Die Hard. He's learning a lot about
Yep.
everybody. They have Irish accents instead of the European,
Maybe Irish and
German accents.
anti-Irish propaganda. I noticed
A
that.
little bit of on St. Patty's Day, no less.
I know,
Unbelievable.
and that was good. The timing of that was good with how they put this out around St. Patty's Day. I appreciated that.
The symmetry of it all was nice. This was the one thing. So this is what I'm learning. I'm learning Matt's powers and how they work. So it's just, I'm trying to figure it out. It's like he can hear. Can he like choose what he wants to hear? Because it's like there's like New York City traffic, people around him, but then he can hear something like 2 blocks away inside. And I'm just getting used to that right now. So that's,
he can kind of lock in. And that was something that he didn't have that immediately. That kind of came to him around season 3, I think, because for a long time he was fighting by listening to heartbeats. And that was how he was like going through it. But then he started fighting the hand, and they were so good that they would slow their heartbeats down when they fought him, and they would get in. So he had to start tuning out the hearts and listening for breaths, because his like mentor Stick told him like, they got to breathe sometime, kid. So he started listening to all the little times they would take breaths. So he like almost learned to start tuning things in and out in like season 3. But that is kind of like an ability he can do.
So I'm learning. I'm still getting all that down right now as a new watcher.
And they also call each other just colors in the bank. They're like, yo, red, tell blue, whatever. And that almost felt like a nod to Reservoir Dogs to me, which I also liked. Mr. Blonde and Mr. White and all of that. When the Irish guy says, I don't like you, this is just one of my random notes. It sounded exactly like the guy in the cantina in Star Wars. Because I don't like you. My friend doesn't like you either.
You'll be dead.
Great scene.
My old roommate and I,
who's a Family Guy.
Yeah, my old roommate and I, who's like a diehard Star Wars guy, we'd always just say "You'll be dead" to each other, like on a random, like passing by each other. It's one of those great things.
We got a good fight in the staircase where he catches the shotgun. That was really cool, and he catches it when it's about to fall down the stairwell. That was like really, really good. A good attempt at escape by the leader when he does the Joker thing and fucking puts on a costume, walks out all casual in a cop outfit. Good attempt, because Daredevil snaps this fucking guy's knee in, and it reminds you, hey, you ain't watching the funny, we're messing around with Miss Marvel's dad show. We're watching the Matt Murdock snaps a knee and inverts it. And then we find out one of the hostages was in on it the whole time. And that was a cool switcheroo, that she was the one in on it the whole time. But she walks out with that gem. It ain't the gem. It's the candy from Mr. Khan's desk. And that was a good kind of a 21 switcheroo. You remember that movie 21 about counting cards?
I didn't see it, but I do remember it. Yes.
I mean, spoilers for that movie. The bad guy thinks he gets away with the chips. And they're candy chips. They're the chocolate covered in foil. And this, I was like, boom, they did the fucking 21 switcheroo. So good episode. And they also set up, I think, what most people are now assuming on Reddit, at least, is the post-credit scene for the series in this episode. A lot of people think it'll be similar to She-Hulk, and that it will be Matt Murdock going to Jersey City and going to this dinner party. Because he said, oh, come over for dinner. My wife makes the best whatever. And in She-Hulk, they invite him to the barbecue, and the post-credit scene is he goes to the barbecue, and then they meet the fucking Hulk's son or whatever.
We're wiping that.
So is every post-credits thing going to be like someone invites Matt Murdock to their barbecue or their family dinner or whatever it may be? He shows up and they have a nice little happy ending. Maybe him and Karen Page or something.
And you know what? I can't blame him. I mean, do you remember the what was the good guy? It was Scumbag Steve meme, and then who was good guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, has like
old school memes. Yeah. Bad Luck Brian, good guy
Greg. And he has like
good guy Greg,
blunt in his mouth, and he's like smirking at you. Good guy Matt is just
hashtag for this week
in the world.
Boom. Good guy Matt.
Yes.
I like that.
You throw him on with the red glasses, and he's just like, yeah, I'll come to your family gathering where we eat food. So that guy Yusuf. His wife makes, what is it? What does she make? Good food?
I forget what she makes. I didn't write it down.
And then what was the name of his daughter?
Kamala.
Let's just say they beat us over the head with fucking Kamala. And I listen.
They did, and especially when they're in a safety deposit room and they're fucking shared story. Guys, it's not the time. Get the fucking safety deposit boxes open. You know?
And like the Funko Pop, it's like, okay, Ms. And listen, they probably, like, a lot of people didn't watch the show probably, right?
Mhm.
And they have to just hammer home because they're not like, oh yeah, that's the dad. There's not a lot of people who are like, that's the dad from Miss Marvel. And then he got canceled for something. I can't remember what it was, but he's here right now, right? So I understand it, but there was a lot of, and I saw a lot of people saying the same thing. It's like, what's his daughter's name again? Oh yeah, Kamala. But there are people
Yeah.
who probably talk about their daughter like that, so that's why I can let it fly.
Or is it she's Kamala, right? And we're saying Kamala because Kamala Harris. She's
Oh, is
Kamala.
it? She's Kamala?
Because
Okay.
I noticed that in the episode, I was like, I tried to make a mental note of it to say, don't say it like Kamala. But it's hard when we have Kamala and Kamala, it's hard to give us a break on that
You
one.
know who
Cut us
the
some
real
slack.
Kamala is?
Who?
The Ugandan giant, R.I.P. in peace.
Of course, yeah, with the
I wrote
fucking
his obituary on Barstool, believe it or
with
not.
the moon and the stars painted on his
Yes.
belly, yeah. Legend. And his Hasbro, I believe there was something where his action figures, Hasbro back in the day, there was like a variant with a moon on his belly and one with like a star on his belly, and one is worth like way more than the other because they made it back in the 90s.
Holy shit. $600 on eBay. You're
Right?
not kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has 3 stars on him, it looks like. Stars on the nipples. Imagine it's like, Mom, which Kamala do I have in the attic? Because if he has stars on his nipples and his belly, it's the belly. He has a star in his belly. It's worth $600.
Yes.
But I don't even know. The moon one is probably worth. Oh wait, maybe the moon one is worth more because now I see this one with the moon and they're saying rarest ones. The moon belly is worth 3,000 to 10,000. The other one is worth 600. Holy shit!
Here's a little WWF Hasbro knowledge for the guys, the listeners, the guys and girls.
This knowledge on any other fucking. They're talking chairs and names and Daredevil, and we're bringing up Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
It's the second wrestler, by the way, that you've brought up in a deep cut reference to Daredevil. First, it was Taz and Red Hook. Second, it was Kamala in this. I think it's the perfect time to tell everyone about WWE 2K25. Now available on Steam, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation. It's bringing you all new modes. You've got the island, you've got underground matches, intergender battles, more game-changing updates. Hey, if Taz and Kamala aren't in the game, which they aren't, guess what? You could create them, or you could download someone else's creation. Kamala. We got it down. We're going to create that. Maybe both of them. Create Miss Marvel, create Kamala in WWE 2K25. I get the yips with it now. We could battle them in an intergender match. It's an absolutely fun game. The new mode, The Island, which is available exclusively on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, the next-gen consoles, is like a GTA-style open world game, objectives, matches. You could go up to a merch booth, buy stuff from DDP. You could go into a Jordan store, buy yourself some Jordans in the game. It's awesome. WWE 2K25 available now, and I'm doing streams every Wednesday at 4 p.m. So if you'd like a little look at the game, join the stream, get a little taste of it. Who knows? WWE 2K might even join the stream and drop some codes for you. So there you go.
I loved Kamala the Ugandan giant because he was like, his like gimmick was he was like raw, and it's like he had just this crazy athletic ability and could beat like Hulk Hogan in a fight potentially, but he just wasn't like trained yet. So he was still learning, and he slapped his belly. And listen, if you're a big guy like me, got a belly. If you grew up in the 90s, you did the old Kamala belly slap at some point.
Barefoot too, like just a stat. Like anyone wrestling barefoot, Matt Riddle wrestled barefoot. There's so many people that do it, and I always think about them walking from the curtain to the ring. How is there just not anything sharp on the concrete, on the steel? Just a crazy move. People do it nowadays. Umaga did it back in the day. A lot of Samoans, obviously, it was like kind of a Samoan tradition, wrestle barefoot. And then it's like you're getting your feet stomped on as well in the ring. Someone makes the wrong step and your toe's broken. That's fucking crazy.
And you're not throwing boots on for the house shows. You got to go fucking full barefoot every single day.
Gimmick. If the people expect that, that's what they see on TV. Yeah. Shout out 2K.
Do you think like when they go home at night, they put shoes on and like, like they're the opposite of us? When you take the shoes off, you're like, it feels so good.
They tighten the shoes and it feels good. Yeah.
A little bit of support. It feels so good. Also, do you think there was like if there was a 90s Daredevil show, there was a Ugandan guy who's like, my son, Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
I would love that. Maybe in the Maybe in the fucking Lou Ferrigno when Daredevil shows up in that, it's like a courtroom scene, I think. So maybe fucking in the old school one, they had someone like that.
I did say a Lou Ferrigno chair would have been dope.
Oh yeah, that would have been dope. And you don't even have to make him the Hulk. You can, I mean, you can make him a fucking multiversal Bruce Banner, or you can make him straight up Hulk. But like, you can give him a random role, and just to acknowledge him as part of the universe would be cool in this one.
He's like a infomercial spokesman or something. He'd just be Lou Ferrigno.
And I'm pretty sure he had a role in the Ang Lee one. I think he makes a little cameo in the 04 Hulk.
Is he alive still? He is,
yeah,
right?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yes.
He was in I Love You Man, which at this point is probably 15 years ago, but he has such a funny role in that.
This is how I find out someone's alive. I Google their name, and then if the first line of their Wikipedia autocomplete on Google says is or was. Yeah. You do the same?
Yeah, you got to do that. All right. Daredevil episode 6 opens with Daredevil saying a prayer, which kind of slaps the people in the face that said this show stripped Daredevil of all religion. And there were people saying that like got the screeners and watched the whole season. They were like, there's no religious themes. They made him not religious anymore. He carries a prayer card around everywhere he goes. He starts the episode with a prayer. So I thought that was weird that was even a thing. But his girlfriend is talking to him about writing a book on vigilantes. She's like, yeah, maybe you could like get me in the same room as Punisher or something. Like she's trying to use favors on him. And he's like, oh yeah, that would be a good idea, right? She's like, Daredevil, you know him, right? He's like, I don't know.
That one gave him the willies. I mean, if he could have heard his own heartbeat, he's like,
yeah, he did not like answering those questions about vigilantes. He's like a smooth, suave guy. He's smooth talking to the ladies. He didn't come off as a great liar in this scene. He was kind of just like, oh yeah, Punisher, you think that's a good idea? I don't know.
His voice starts cracking. He's like, sweating. He's doing the all yee, the neck.
He was taking the necktie off in the last episode. He's doing it again here. Then Kingpin's office, he's got one of the guys that we had the whole, it was like the mobs are against each other. Vanessa stopped them from fighting for a second. And he's like, you got to let the chaos unload, Vanessa, or whatever the shit happened in the last few episodes. One of these tracksuit guys comes to visit him in his office. Never a good look when the mayor's got someone in a tracksuit in his office, unless it's like the gym teacher for winning Teacher of the Year.
Wow, all right, a nice
like that's the only scenario where someone can be wearing a tracksuit in the mayor's office and it's not a bad look.
So I had to go here. I'm like, so there's Luca, and I'm like,
yes,
right,
a lot of Luca talk.
I know of Luca, and I'm looking at his Marvel Cinematic Universe fandom page. There's not a lot of Luca. So I was like, is Luca a big part of either Hawkeye with the tracksuits or in the original Daredevils? Luca's
just born again. Yeah.
He's they're just giving him some time. Good for the actor there. And he's
and
also Luca with a C, not the K that got traded to the Lakers.
Correct. He's not the Luca that got traded to the Lakers. Yeah. And he gets visited by the sanitation guy who was one of the hostages in the bank. Another kind of cool connection to the last episode. Oh, you didn't? He was one of the guys that Matt was talking to in the bank that was actually kind of sticking up for Matt. But he comes to visit him about this graffiti that's been done, and they can't get the graffiti off. It's Muse's graffiti, obviously, and we get a lot more Muse in this episode. Creepiness with Muse, and they fucking nail the tone there. It's like a dark side to last episode's light side. Like 5 is kind of a happy-go-lucky, whoa, we're talking about Kamala. This episode is fucking dark and gritty and gouging eyes out and fucking like stuff like that. But this sanitation worker can't get to the point, just like I can't get to the point with the sanitation worker. He's like, they're like, just say what you told me. He goes, it's blood. It's made of human blood. And the way he said it cracked me up, just in his New York accent. It's blood. It's made of human blood.
That's like just New Yorker fucking nerves have just been fried by years of New York, right? And the nonsense you see every single day. It's like, oh yeah, human blood. That's what I meant to say. And he's
not rattled by it.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, this is what it is. We got to get something to clean the human blood.
I didn't know how Fisk was going to react to the 60 number because he's probably killed like 60 people in the last year, right?
Yeah, he's like, you got to get your numbers up.
The fact. It's like they can't connect any of these guys to me, right? No, these are all Muse guys. So I did like
great if he said to the sanitation worker, like, "Wait, only 60? We're good." He's like, "Oh wait, never mind. That's a lot of people. Wow."
Honestly, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And listen, I can say this because I don't have to ever worry about holding public office. If I was like the mayor or governor, whatever the fuck, president, if I found out there was a serial killer, I'd be like, I'm resigning. Like, I'm not dealing with that. That is way too much shit you have to deal with. Is worrying about
who's painting like beautiful murals in human blood. You're like, no. We are talking supervillain shit now. No, absolutely not. And there's that scene where he's painting, the girls come up to him asking for a selfie, and that's pulled straight from the comics. A lot of people pulled that panel and they posted it, which is crazy. He talks to them in the comics. He's kind of like, of course I'm Muse. And he has this Banksy vibe. They're like, are you Muse? Like, can we take a picture with you? He just gouges their eyes out in the show. And his lair is nightmare fuel. Like, even just being in the subways, the canals of the subways is creepy enough. The meat hooks hanging from the ceiling, the people hanging from the ceiling, the thing that he has. And we get a lot of Angela in this episode, White Tiger's niece. She's obviously going to be the next White Tiger, the way she's talking. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to step up. Vigilante this, vigilante that. She's got the amulet, right? She goes down to investigate by herself. Boneheaded move. I don't know why you would ever do that.
Smart.
When he hits her with the Dexter needle that makes her pass out, and then he fucking puts that giant syringe in her leg, that was crazy. I've never seen anything like that in a show or movie.
I thought it was Consul D'Angelo. I was like, well, I guess she's not going to be the next White Tiger after they told me she is in the comic books. And the thing is, when she gets saved by a vigilante, that's going to make her want to be a vigilante even more, right? So
true.
I think that's how her origin story, along with her uncle, that's how everything's going to get cooking. And I got to say this. I said it last week. This Muse motherfucker is a real sicko. I do not like him. I do not like him one bit. I am thankful that this show, remember we were told how gory this show was? Mm-hmm. And I'm happy it's not gory. I mean, I would have been fine if it was gory when Matt's breaking legs. And we're seeing a little bit of it, but not to the level I thought. I'm happy they're not doing that shit in Muse's place, because this would be like a Saw movie at this point. Like, even the meat hooks took me aback. I'm like, Disney's putting humans on meat hooks.
It could get there too, though. I mean, Muse runs away in the end. Like, we might be just getting the tip of the iceberg in terms of creepiness here.
I mean, hey, that previous episode, dude, I wrote this down too. I forgot to mention this. They said the word twat. They had a joke about fucking a penguin. And then they were doing like
funny joke.
And they were doing like a bad accent of another like nationality. I guess like Irish and Italian people just make fun of, like, they're exempt from having like to get like, oh, grab my pearl necklace. I just couldn't believe that. Like, I'm like, hey, Disney, we're growing up a little bit here. We're not going to act offended.
F-bombs, I think. A lot of fucks.
There was a lot
maybe
of F-bombs.
3, 4, something like that. Yeah. Kingpin's getting bigger. Loved that scene. He's putting on his jacket and it doesn't fit. It's like, okay, we're getting bigger. And you're right. He's eating away his fucking troubles.
I told you, I said, that's a man that wants to get into the nice suit for the mayor race. And then once he got in, we're letting the carbs roll. We're not going to be watching our weight. We're going to be eating after 9. And when that jacket ripped, I was like, I fucking told you guys.
What nerds we are, by the way, to watch this show. And the mayor, he's like, oh, I'm gaining a little bit of weight. And we're like, oh, he's gaining weight.
And that's when, like, big motherfucking Kingpin's coming back. He's going to be big man, tiny head from Spider-Man. That's what we're hoping for, right?
We could skip ahead. He fucking levels up in this episode. We said you got to level up Kingpin a little bit. If you're going to level up Daredevil a little bit, you got to beef him up. And they do it in this episode. He forms the AVTV, the Anti-Vigilante Task Force. He has a big meeting about that. He meets Swordsman from Hawkeye. He has that whole gala type scene. It's not a gala fundraiser type thing, whatever he had to go to, the black tie event. And these people kind of rip into him. So he's starting to get this rage built up. Swordsman straight up lays into him. And that was like, I guess, cool to see Swordsman, but kind of a nothing cameo. Could have been anyone saying that. It didn't like make it better. And we get a little bit of the video of Swordsman too, which maybe he'll be more in this. He'll be outlawed as a vigilante too.
There's people, including probably people listening or watching this, who didn't watch Hawkeye, who had no clue what the fuck was going on with all that.
And actually, I guess it's well done in terms of you don't have to watch Hawkeye. Like, it honestly doesn't even provide you anything you should know to this so far, at least.
This guy's not going to have a chair in any of the announcements.
No,
I promise
no
you
chair.
That much. And hey, if he's in it, I like the guy. I think
he's fine. I don't dislike him. Yeah, he's fine. But it was just like, all right, I guess Swordsman was in it. Like, weird guy to choose to put in it, unless he's going to be one of these New York superheroes that gets outlawed or whatever. But he really levels up at the end of the episode when he goes down to Adam again and he throws him an axe, and he kind of talks about learning to like overcome and how a weapon can change things, even if you're smaller, you're the smaller man. And he wants to test himself against Adam. And they pair it perfectly with Daredevil going to save Angela and coming back, Matt turning back into Daredevil, Wilson Fisk turning back into Kingpin. Some of their moves are absolutely the same. The way they're punching their victim on the head, like the side of the head as they're laying on the table. He's throwing Adam into the fucking ceiling like Darth Vader does in Rogue One, but he's not using the Force. He's using the pure force of his fists. Throws him into the ceiling, throws him into the wall. Crazy shit. Awesome editing. There was just one shot in it, the shot where Daredevil's running rooftop to rooftop. CGI looked a little off, looked a little wonky. And it was one of those scenes where I was surprised that it was even included because they have such a dope real scene of Daredevil jumping off a roof that you could tell an actor jumped off a roof for. You just didn't need the rooftop to rooftop, but that's super nitpicky. It was a 2-second scene in this entire episode, and I loved the episode. I loved the fight scene between Daredevil and Muse. It felt like they got the choreography team or stunt team back from seasons 1 through 3, because it lived up to the hype of that. And I still feel like this show is living up to the first 3 seasons. I know there's diehard fans of the Netflix show that are like, no, it doesn't compare to the Netflix show. I really think it's right there with Netflix.
And you are a viewer, Bob. They can't say you didn't watch it, so they have to.
And I also love the MCU. Maybe that also that adds to my excitement, because some people that love the Netflix show are like, I don't like it. It feels a little too MCU-ish. And I genuinely love the feel of the MCU. I know it's had downslopes, but like the interconnectivity of the universe, the connecting with Miss Marvel, all of that, like, I know it's cheesy sometimes. I fucking like it. It reminds me of comic books.
So I'm looking right now, and this reviews are reviews. Who gives a fuck? But IMDb, the with interest is 8.2, which was the first episode of this week, and that's the lowest the series has gotten so far in this first season, and then 9.0 was the last episode. So, and
I think it's worthy of that. I would say, I think this was probably my favorite episode. Maybe the Punisher one. I really liked the Punisher one last week. But if not, it's probably this episode. Like, the fight scenes were awesome. The Kingpin scenes were awesome. I don't know, everything about it. Maybe it's the double feature too. Like, I loved the double feature of it, going back to back with these.
When you call it double feature, it makes it feel a little, it's like one penultimate. It's a nice word. Yeah, I like that. All
right. That was it. Anything else you had on episode 6 or any of the Daredevil stuff?
No, man. It just feels like we had like a fucking wacky, a good Marvel day. 24 hours of Marvel bringing the fight. It's people who
maybe they've been listening to the basement every week. We're like, hey, DC kicking off the news again. Hey, DC kicking off hey, Star Wars kicking off this week. Hey, DC kicking. They're like, hey, we got to get front center on My Mom's Basement once again. It's been a few weeks.
Need to win over the Barstool crew. I told you guys this. It's tough for those people that made snarky tweets like Trent. Just tough look.
I know. Oh, what a bad day he had. Every 10 minutes, he was probably sweating, hoping it wasn't going to be a big name. Fucking, Ghost gets announced, and he's like, whew. All right. And then they start announcing X-Men, and he starts sweating for sure.
Oh, he's sweating now. X-Men's coming for fucking Patrick Stewart's coming for that ass, Trent. He's coming for that ass. Trent,
all right.
Here's that ass. I'm coming.
Oh, yeah. Hit him with the friggin', a little telekinesis. We will talk to you next week. Hashtag good guy Matt. Is that what we said? Good guy Matt?
Yes, hashtag good guy Matt.
Good guy Matt. We'll talk to you next week.